Feeling all the fun. All right. Hey. Live to fight another day with SDP on MMA. I'm Shadow Don. I'm joined by my son, Skylar Don. Together, we are SDP on MMA. Tonight, we're going to give you our pre-fight predictions and analysis for UFC, 223?
UFC 218, Holloway versus Aldo 2.
218. I forgot to write it down. Yeah. December 2nd. This coming Saturday in Detroit, Michigan. Live on pay-per-view. And when we get done with that, we'll jump into a post-fight analysis to touch a little bit on UFC Fight Night 122, Bisping versus Gastelum from last Saturday in Shanghai. And we do have timestamps listed below in our info section, so if you just pop down below there, you can just move fast forward right where you want to be, or drop back to whatever you need to do. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button down there, join the family, help us spread the word. We got a comment section down there. Please use it. Let us know what you think, good or bad. Let us know. If we make a comment on here and we're looking for answers, please let us know what you're thinking, all right?
And shout out to everybody 2 weeks ago for coming through and filling up our comments and really making a lot of conversation and a lot of noise down there. We love it. We love responding to it. We love hearing what you guys got to think. And, yeah, let us know who you got. Aldo, Holloway, Overeem, Ngannou, Pettis, Cejudo, Gaethje, Alvarez. Break it down for us, please. Leave it in the comment section.
All right, so we get started. Pre-fight analysis on UFC 218, Holloway versus Aldo 2. Yes, we're doing a playback on the main event. This will be the second time these two contestants meet, and this time again it will be for a belt. So Saturday night, kicking off the card, we got Justin Willis versus Alan Crowder in the heavyweight division. Willis, this kid, good ground game, good speed, good striking skills, good boxing, big guy, heavy power. Seems got pretty good cardio. It tends to fade a little bit as the fight goes on. Dangerous if he gets his heavy hands on you. Crowder, just okay in his striking, but he does show good wrestling. Found this guy off the Contender Series. Seems a little lackluster in his skills to me, to be honest with you. Started MMA in 2014, so he's fairly new to the game. That could be the issue there. I haven't been all that impressed really with what I've seen thus far. Only because of that, I really am kind of leaning towards Willis, and I'm anxious to see we haven't had a chance to talk yet about our picks, so I'm anxious to see what you have to say before I make my final call. But I am leaning towards Willis to get it started.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you here just because Crowder, if you go back and look at that fight, I don't know how he got the ticket to come in and fight Justin Willis. I haven't looked into that, so I don't know how he popped up, but maybe Dana's thinking he has a shot. I don't see it here. What I do like about Crowder, though, is he can stand and bang with you. He's got a chin, and he's willing to do that, and he's got somewhat of a fundamental ground game, at least enough to get him through. But yeah, I don't know. I think Justin Willis is going to take this just being the bigger man. He's somewhere in between 275 to 300 pounds. He has a real hard time making weight. So that's inevitably why he fights at heavyweight. So there's that big 40, 60 yard gap that you can cover. So, yeah, but I like how he trains at AKA with, Daniel Cormier and them. I like what I'm seeing there. So I'm going to just go ahead and say Justin Willis, and if Alan wants to win this, you're gonna have to knock Justin out. And I'll just be honest, I don't really see it happening, but it could. So Justin Willis, what do I got here? Oh, I said Justin Willis by decision.
All right. Well, Vegas odds have Justin Willis favored -210 right now. Alan Crowder plus 170. I'm gonna say Justin Willis round 2 TKO knockout. All right.
Fair enough.
Cool. So we move ahead. Next fight, we've got Jeremy Kimball versus Dominick Reyes in the light heavyweight division. And I don't know a lot about Kimball. I'm going to be leaning on you for that. I know that this is the guy that comes out of Colorado. We laugh because he looks just like my old bassist, Patrick, if you're out there listening, man. This dude always makes me think of you. He's got okay speed. He's a powerful striker. Nice overhand right. He leaves himself open to a clean counterpuncher. That's one thing that I've kind of paid notice to. He leads with his chin a lot, leaves himself open to a lot of shots if you line up and down the middle. This is just the things I see. I'm just telling you what I see. That would be something that I'd probably, as a coach, be trying to find that angle, because I think he leaves himself open there. He has proven he can take a shot. He does have a chin. Reyes, good speed, great kicks and strikes. Kid was a former college quarterback, and I don't know why, if he left for injury or what it was, but anyways, dude trains out of Cobra Kai Fitness under Joe Daddy Stevenson. Everybody knows that boy. I think Joe Daddy goes all the way back to Tough Series 1. He's got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. 5 of 7 wins are from knockout. That's important here. He finished Jordan Powell and Marcus Govan with a head kick. Vicious strike. I mean, it's just, dude's on. I haven't been impressed with Kimball, so I'm leaning on Reyes for this. Tell me what you got here.
I'll shoot it to you straight. I think this could be an upset and Kimball could win it. I'm not going Kimball, but if people are looking for a good underdog, I'm pretty sure this is a good one. Just because, here's the deal, you said it best yourself. These guys throw right hands from hell. And I will say this, Kimball does throw a faster right hand, in my opinion. Is it as accurate or powerful? No, but it is faster. And Reyes' right hand, you just want to stay out of the way. But, man, there's something about Jeremy I really like, because he comes from that Vale Tudo background. So he throws like switch kicks. He'll fake a body kick and you'll put your hands down and he'll slap you across the face with his foot. He also, in film study I was watching, he does these cool little flying knee things where he fakes the flying knee and then goes into the Superman punch. Mm-hmm. And all of that is really structured, like on your feet, thinking on your toes IQ. And I really like all of that. It's a good trait to have, especially in martial arts, when we're dealing with so much on our feet with different backgrounds. Only thing I don't like about Jeremy, to your point, was he just leaves the right hand. I mean, like if he's fighting an orthodox fighter, that right hand's going to connect at some point. Yeah. Either the left hook or the right straight is going to connect, or the right overhand. And unfortunately, Reyes throws all of those really well, and not only does he throw them really well, he's 6'4". So the range and the chances of him connecting before Kimball ever gets a shot off on Reyes, I would like to think statistically we're good here with Reyes. So I'm expecting an upset with Kimball because of experience, and he has 5 KOs, 1 submission win, 1 decision win. I'm sorry, no, he does. I'm looking at the other guy. He has 11 KOs out of his 15 wins, and that was the point I wanted to hit on with Jeremy. So he's very capable of, like, he put Josh Stansbury out in the first round his last fight. So don't sleep. Don't sleep. And remember I said that about him, but I'm going Dominick Reyes by round 1 knockout.
I'm going to take Reyes round 2 TKO knockout. I think you hit on an important feature in the fact that he's 4 inches taller. He's got 5-inch reach advantage. I think that much reach always plays the advantage in the strike game. So, yeah, I'm leaning on Reyes. Let's see. Vegas had Reyes heavily favored, -400. Kimball plus 300. So, yeah, I can see what you're saying about him as an underdog. I'm going to leave it completely alone. It's just there's nothing there for me. No meat on the bone.
I might throw just a small $5 parlay with Kimball in just on underdogs because, I mean, he can do it. He can do it, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I think someone's dropping, and whether that be Reyes or Kimball, I don't know. But somebody's dropping in round 1 or 2. I don't believe this is going to go to decision.
All right. Well, that brings us up to the next fight. Sabah Homasi versus Abdul Razak Alhassan in the welterweight division. And Homasi Again, I don't know a lot about this guy. Just know that he trains out of American Top Team. Dude looks like he's got real heavy hands. I watched his highlight reel. Looks like he has a good ground game, good ground and pound skills at that. He looks slightly bigger as a fighter, but I like Abdul here. Abdul's one of our native Texans here. He fights out of Fort Worth. He's got a black belt in judo, throws big, heavy hands. When you see him fight, you'll see what I'm talking about. He's got good cardio, could use some improvement in his takedown defense, but he looks good, and I think he should only continue to improve. I'm again anxious to see what you say.
Yeah, this is where I gotta go the opposite direction. I was originally going Abdul, and when I went and studied film on Sabah, I had no idea who this kid was. I had no idea that he came out of Titan. I had to literally educate myself from the ground level up on this kid, and the more and more I studied, the more I realized, okay, since he went to American Top Team, this kid has turned into a new fighter compared to the Titan days. And that scares me against a guy like Abdul, because the only loss Abdul has on his record was against, let me tell you, Amari Akhmedov, our Russian. And Akhmedov trains at ATT. So they put together a fight plan that clearly worked against Abdul, and I'm worried that Sabah is going to use either the same format or some type of off format of the same type of game plan. So I don't really know what to expect or what the entire game plan is, but I know it's to get Abdul out of the first round because all of his wins are in the first round. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting point. Sabah can go rounds, and he's got great basic fundamentals when it comes to standing up, and I really, really like that about him. So I'm gonna hope to God he stays out of the way of out of Abdul's right hand. But I think if this goes rounds, Sabah can win this. So I'm going Homasi by decision.
Okay. Vegas has Abdul favored -230 and Homasi plus 180. So again, you're picking the dog in this fight. I feel pretty good here. I'm gonna say round 2 TKO knockout again. So that's 3 straight for me. Let's see, something's got to hit. I've been getting a lot perfect lately, so maybe we'll keep on that roll. Next fight, we got Amanda Cooper versus Angela Magana. This is women's strawweight division, and Cooper, she came out of tough. I guess Magana came out of tough too. Now that I think about it, and I don't think Amanda Cooper is like a great fighter, but she continues to improve her game. She's showing improvement in her striking, her ground game, showing good submission attempts. Should be able to manhandle Angela, in my opinion. Angela's got really good grappling skills, but she lacks power in her strikes, and she also lacks cardio. This is going to be her first time fighting in 2 years. She's been living and training in Puerto Rico. And let me tell you, this girl has had one hell of a struggle through her training camp as she chose to stay there during that rough time for her. So I can't imagine it's been easy. I'm leaning towards Cooper here. Tell me what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that I don't like either of these girls at all.
Yeah.
I don't appreciate the way they fight. I question why they're even in the UFC. But then again, it's not a very stacked division that they're fighting in. So this one's tough for me because you have Bobby Cooper, who just lost to Cynthia Calvillo in the first round in March of 2017. And then you got Angela, who just fought Michelle Waterson, fought Michelle Waterson 2 years ago and was put into a rear naked choke in the third round. And then, of course, she lost to Tecia Torres right before that. But my point being with Magana or Majana, however you want to say it, is she's fought Tecia Torres, Jessica Ai, and Michelle Waterson. That's part of three of her four last fights. So she's gone up against like the top talent in the world. Has she successful? No, but she went rounds. So I'd like to think you learned something. And in the 2-year layoff, I'd also like to think you've been priming or working on something. And let's be honest, Bobby Cooper's not the smartest fighter. I wouldn't say Angela's the smartest fighter either. But Angela does, before she had all those losses, she had six submission victories. Two of them by armbar. So I'm gonna wing it here and go Magana or whatever her name is, just because I don't like either of these two. So I'd like to see the underdog hit.
Well, Amanda's heavily favored here. Vegas has her at -360. So you've definitely picked the night for dogs. Magana is plus 270. So I'm feeling good here. I'm gonna follow my gut. Magana definitely has the vet record on her, I guess. But yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling Cooper's.
It's not like it's a winning record.
No. But Cooper's improving her game. I'm leaning on that to get it done. So that brings us into the FS1 prelims on the card. And the first fight...
Oh, we didn't call how that was going to finish. I got Magana round 2 submission.
Let's see. What did I do? I've got Cooper by decision.
There we go.
All right. So, we got Felice Herrig versus Cortney Casey. Women's strawweight division. Impressive thing about Herrig, she's had 3 straight wins. The last win, if you haven't seen it, you should go see it. Last win was over Justine Kish. And let me tell you, that was a hard one to watch and to stomach at the same time. I guess Kish she's put in a hold, and she pretty much shit all over herself and wound up shitting all over Herrig. It was hard to stomach, man. That was a tough one to watch. Somebody didn't believe me, and I had to end up going back and showing that to somebody. And once again, it's a hard one to watch. So, yeah, Herrig beat Alexa Grasso and Kaylin Curran, Heather Jo Clark. But she's got defeats from Paige Van Zant. Lost to her by decision. As well from Tecia Torres by decision. Only one loss in the UFC since 2013 after losing to Randa Marcos in the quarterfinal round of her season 20 on Tough. She's got a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, most of her fights do go to decision. She only has 1 knockout on her record and 4 by submission. Her striking's improved. I think she's got a better ground game than Casey as well. This one's a tough one for me really to call. Casey went pro in 2013. She's got 7 wins and 4 losses. 3 wins by knockout, 3 wins by submission, only 1 win by decision. She's got a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Highlights to her record, she beat Jessica Aguilar by decision. She looked great on the ground from her back in that fight. Lost to Claudia Gadelha by decision. She beat Randa Marcos, who, like I said, beat Felice. Courtney's going to be the younger, taller fighter. She was my original pick for this fight, but the more I thought about it, the more I think Felice brings a tougher fight than say, Jessica Aguilar. So, I'm definitely leaning that way. Tell me what you're thinking. I'll tell you how I call it.
Man, this is a really good fight because Herrig is so deadly on the ground and she believes in neutralization, but I don't think this is the matchup you can use that against. Cortney Casey is a straight professional when it comes to wrestling and grappling and clinch work. And like, if you go watch her clinch work, she does these crazy little judo trips and heel snaps that take people's legs out from underneath you. So, I mean, this fight's fascinating to me because I see neutralization happening on both sides, which makes me wonder if they're going to stand. And I'll be honest, I don't like Herrig standing. I don't like Felice on her feet, and that's where I like Cortney the most with that cast iron right hand. So I'm taking Cortney by decision. I know that it looks like the entire MMA community is calling me crazy for that, but Cortney Casey's a tough, tough chick, and if you don't knock her out or submit her, she's not gonna pussy out. She's gonna give you everything she's got for 15 minutes straight or 25, whatever the case may be. But I like the fact that she's the bigger fighter here too, which means if Felice has a problem taking her down to the ground, which I do believe she will, I think Cortney can pick Felice off on her feet. I'm almost confident in that. Just because you see the powerhouse difference when both of the girls stand. Felice would rather dance around and use movement and pick you off, and Cortney's coming straight at you almost with your back to the fence. So I don't know. I like that. I'm not saying I'm like sure of it. I just feel good about Cortney Casey here. So I'm taking Casey by decision.
All right. Well, I'm telling you, you're on a roll. Vegas so far has Herrig at -160, Cortney Casey at +130.
Those are good odds.
Yeah, that's a real tight matchup, man. So everybody sees it that way thus far. It could change a little bit closer to fight day, but yeah, man, that's not a bad one. I mean, you're definitely on a roll, that's for sure. So that brings us to David Teymur and Drakkar Klose in the lightweight division. I'm looking forward to this fight. This should be a good one. Teymur, Swedish fighter, skilled and trained in Muay Thai and kickboxing. Started training at the age of 15. This little born and bred fighter trains at All Stars Training Center in Stockholm kickboxing team. He's a southpaw with a record of 6 wins and 1 loss. His only loss to a no-name in his first pro appearance in International Ring Fight Arena in 2013. He has had 3 fights in the UFC, winning his first 2 by knockout, and his last unanimous decision over Lando Venado in March of this year. Great striker, powerful kicks, good speed, decent gas tank. I think this fight's going to be a banger. Drakkar Klose, born and bred in Kalamazoo, Michigan, fights out of Glendale, Arizona now, training out of the MMA lab. Got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Comes from an early background in wrestling, winning a state championship in 2005. Before he was in the UFC, he had a record of 7 wins and 1 draw in Resurrection Fighting Alliance and World Fighting Federation. Had his first fight in the UFC in January of this year, and he defeated Devin Powell by unanimous decision. His second appearance was in July of this year with another victory over Mike Diakese. Diakese, thank you. And I actually had Mark in that fight, but Klose pulled it off by winning by split decision. Like I said, I had Diakese in that one, but Klose pulled that hype train, put the hype train on Mark Diakese for the time being. I'm leaning towards Teymur in this, and it was tough for me. It's going to be another one of those. I think it's probably going to go the distance, so I'm going to say by decision. What are you thinking?
I will just say straight up, I fucked up because David has a brother, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I thought he was his brother.
What's his brother's name? Daniel?
Is it Daniel Teymur? I watched tape on, I think, Daniel Teymur, so
okay.
I'm not all caught up with David, I'll be completely honest.
Hey, can I stop you for a second? Because it brings up a really good point. I don't know if it was our last comment section or the one before that, but someone came back and was like, how could you not know X, Y, or Z? Or how could you screw up this name? Or how could you get something asked backwards? Well, you know what, dude? I just wanted to say for the record, and if you're out there listening this time, this one's for you, dude. Shit happens, man. Like I said in the comment, I was trying to be nice about it, and the more I've thought about it, it's not like it's really gotten under my skin, but I have definitely thought about it. And you know what? I was watching UFC Saturday night, the Shanghai, and Dan Hardy was doing the commenting. And he made a comment, and I don't remember what he said, but it was completely wrong. And I realized right at that moment, dude, we don't get paid to do this, okay? A lot of this stuff comes from, just going out and doing homework. Other comes from memory, whatever it is. But I think just because you screw something up and or forget something doesn't make you a dumbass, or it doesn't make you somehow not legit to know what you're talking about in the sport. Or anyways, I guess the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to just say, yeah, fuck you, dude. I mean, people fuck up. That's bottom line. That's the way it goes. And if that's really all you had to comment about was how shitty that must have made our whole show for you, that sucks. But yeah, maybe you'll find something good to talk about this week. Anyways, what'd you have there? So you watched film on Teymur. What about Drakkar Klose?
Drakkar's got the assets I like. I like the grinding mindset, and at MMA Lab, they're forming him into the division's going to have to worry about this kid, because he can go 3 to 5 rounds, no problem. And he can also knock you out. So, and I think he is the bigger fighter here. He's 5'8", and Teymur's 5'9", so they're about equal. But yeah, no, I like Drakkar's wrestling, and I'm thinking he's going to be able to grind out another decision win and neutralize the fight, kind of like he did against Mark Casey. When things got bad, he immediately scrambled to the ground and was able to keep Mark there for minutes at a time. So as long as you can do that, I don't think Teymur. I don't know. I studied Daniel Teymur, and you can hold Daniel down on the ground.
Right.
It's possible. So I don't know. I'm going to take Klose by decision, but don't mark me on this, because I didn't do the appropriate film study on David. I studied Daniel.
All right. Well, again, we are asked backwards. I've got Teymur by decision. He is favored. -170. Drakkar Klose at +140. So, man, this is just going to be a crazy night at my house, man. I don't know what you guys got, but I'm anxious to hear. So, our next fight brings us to one of the Oliveiras out of 2. We get in back-to-back fights. Alex Oliveira on this particular fight versus Yancy Medeiros. This is in the welterweight division. And this Oliveira is the Brazilian cowboy. And he's just one of those fighters that I say for the record, once again, if you wear a cowboy hat to the ring, I am not on your side. You should be at a rodeo, not a fight. He fights at lightweight and welterweight. That's important to know. He trains at Tata Fight Team, and also trains out of American Top Team. He's got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Comes from an early background in Muay Thai. Has 24 pro fights with 18 wins, 11 by knockout, 4 by submission, 3 by decision. Dude, he's been in the UFC since 2015 with only 2 losses. One from Donald Cerrone, who managed to sink a triangle choke early in round 1 on him, and another to Gilbert Burns, who submitted Alex by armbar in round 3. His last fight against Ryan LaFerre won with a knockout punch, and that was in July of 2017. That was really impressive. I urge you to go and see that. Notable wins over serious contenders such as Dirty Bird Means. That was a great fight. Will Brooks, James Munsari, KJ Noons. I think he should be the more powerful fighter out of the 2 as well. Medeiros, native Hawaiian, trained in Cesar Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. He's fought at many weight classes as well, from lightweight to light heavyweight. He has a record of 14 wins, 4 losses, 7 by knockout, 4 by submission, 3 by decision. He joined the UFC in 2013, making his debut against Rustam Kabalov, and then to Jim Miller before getting a win over Damon Jackson and then Joe Proctor. His last fight was against Eric Silva in June of this year, and he won by TKO in round 2. Before that, had a rear naked choke win by the submission over Sean Spencer. He's going to be the smaller fighter here, and I'm leaning on Alex to get the job done. I'm taking Alex by decision. I think it's safe to say that if it goes that way, Alex will pull it off. He'll outpoint Medeiros. So, hey, if not knock him out, he may get lucky there as well. We'll see what happens. So, what are you thinking?
I like the word you used, lean. And it's important note that you said, because I said before we started this fight card tonight, every one of these fights can go opposite. I mean, seriously, at any point, whatever you think is for sure, I'm here to tell you there's going to be a couple fights on here that if you feel for sure going somebody, you're going to fuck it up because the other person's going to win.
Right.
And this is another one of those fights where right off the bat, I initially went Alex Oliveira, and then I forgot Yancy Medeiros. Within the last 2 years, he's done training with the Diaz brothers. He's done training with the current champion who's also on this card, Max Holloway. That's what gym he's training in Hawaii with him right now, to learn that killer unorthodox boxing and adaptation skills, which is why Yancy hasn't been knocked out for years. Like I said, expect anybody to win this fight. I'm going to take Yancy because I like that just ferocious nature, that in your face, I don't give a shit, knock me out or I'm going to knock you out.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes this fight so cool. Is I would have never gone with Yancy if Yancy didn't have that mindset, because that's the mindset it takes to beat Alex. You can't fear him.
Right.
If you fear him, he's going to beat you every time because he's a scary dude. He's skilled in every facet of the fight game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just taking Yancy. I'm taking what feels familiar to me, what feels right, and it's just another. And as we go down, I'm looking at the rest of the card and every single fight. I mean, it could totally go the opposite way. But yeah, I got Yancy by KO TKO round 2.
Well, if this really goes the way you're thinking, you're going to make a ton of money. Vegas has got Alex favored -200, Yancy at +160. Not heavy favorite, but definitely a favorite there. So I'm definitely on Vegas's side this week. And I made my picks before I saw the Vegas odds. I promise you that. So we are going to just have a blast in my house. We might have to film this one just to
we might
maybe do it live.
By the way, I didn't look at odds either. This is straight off of film study and feeling.
All right. So our next fight is the second Oliveira. We got Charles Oliveira versus Paul Felder, lightweight division. And yeah, man, Oliveira, dude, this dude has been in the UFC for so long. Like 2010, he's fought everyone in the division. God, man, I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. Felder, Irish Dragon, fights out of Philadelphia, member of Rufus Sports, fights under Duke Rufus, has a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo, black belt in Karate, purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That belt is also under Daniel Gracie, so it's a proud Gracie member. Professional record of 14 wins and 3 losses, 9 by knockout, 1 by submission, and 4 by decision. Last fight was a win over Stevie Ray by knockout using those vicious elbows. Loves to use them, slices and dices with elbows. I love that about the guy. That was just in July of this year. And he took performance of the night on that fight. His losses in the UFC were to big names like Francisco Trinaldo, Ross Pearson, Edson Barbosa, big knockout fighters, big hitters. Charles Oliveira, Brazilian fighter, dude. He's fought in featherweight and lightweight and welterweight. He's all over the board. He trains out of what's it called? Macaco Gold Team. It's out of Houston, Texas. I wasn't aware of that until I read it, but he's got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well. And this dude, like I said, you need to go look. Just pull up his fighting record to see how long this guy's been fighting. He was all the way back to the Predator series. I mean, that was back in 2008. Cage Warriors Challenge. Made his way into the UFC, like I said, in 2010. And it's just been up, down, but is always fighting big names, always bringing the show. This fight was so hard for me. I got to tell you, I went back and forth because I couldn't nail something down. And I'm going to tell you, don't take my word on this fight because, again, I'm too floppy back and forth. But I had a vision and I'm going with it because it's paid off for me now. 2 fight cards in a row, and I see Felder getting a knockout or TKO possibly in round 2 of this fight. So that's my call. Tell me what you're thinking.
Same exact call. I had the same vision. I think Felder knocks him down in round 2, and when you fuck Charles up, like when you fuck his equilibrium up, he doesn't respond well. And
Wow.
and Paul responds like a rabid dog when he smells weakness, and that's probably my favorite thing about him, other than his elbows from the clinch. So I'm this is a fight once again. I'm expecting something, but I'm so scared of expecting anything because if you know Charles Oliveira, he'll pull a submission on anyone's back, even a Gracie.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing that makes me feel good going into it all is Paul Felder. He's never been submitted by anybody, so that makes me feel good. So I think round 2 KO, TKO, early round 2.
Wow, man! Finally, one that we agree on. Vegas does have Paul favored -150, just slightly. Oliveira +120. So that's anybody's game. That's too close to call. But again, maybe our vision will come true because so far he has the odds in his favor. So that brings us to the main card, I believe. Let's see. Main card is Tecia Torres versus Michelle Karate Hottie Waterson in the women's strawweight division. And I'm looking to see a really good fight here. Tecia Torres always brings it. You know, she's a great striker, good kicks, good ground game, great defense. Overall, very well-rounded fighter. High activity on her feet, and she's got a real strong frame. She's built. I've liked what I've seen in the past few fights from her. She seems to be evolving at a fast pace. Michelle trains out of Jackson Wink MMA. Her last fight was against Rose Namajunas, where she lost. You need to see that. That was a pretty good fight. Her base is freestyle karate, but she's skilled in Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And she's been working on all of her techniques. But the one thing that stands out more than anything about Michelle is that she really lacks the power in her strikes, the ability to keep her opponents to the ground, to actually finish her opponents, in times where she should have just jumped on and been done with it. She doesn't have that tenacious, the tiger that you think she needs to unleash, just never quite comes out. Yeah, I'm leaning on Torres here. What are you thinking?
Good to hear. Tecia, I did film study on this for about an hour just because would you agree with me when I say this? Torres is so good at what she does and Waterson is so good at what she does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. However, I'm not going to take away from Torres' ability to strike.
Yeah, if we're talking and we're talking on the fence and we're wanting to grind, Torres will hit you from every direction to the body, even to your hips, even all the way up to your chin, even up to the top of your hairline. She just swings with everything she has, and I like that tiger about her. Whereas Michelle is just fluid, smooth, long, accurate, most definitely, but she relies on movement, and Tecia relies on just, I'm going to fucking grab your hair and just want to do this, She's a little Bam Bam fighter, but what separated this whole fight for me is Tecia has a ground game, obviously learning the fundamentals at American Top Team. I think that's what pulls her through here. You take Michelle, a girl with no wrestling or BJJ background whatsoever, killer striker, just not developed in those areas. Torres has to know this. ATT has to know this, and they have to know that you take away space from a Jackson Wink fighter, it's the best thing you could ever do. That's why Daniel Cormier was the only person to almost defeat John Jones, and Jones won by 1 round. Only reason why he was able to do that is you eliminate the space from those Jackson Wink fighters. Mm-hmm. Once you take that space away, they don't have time to think, and the IQ goes away, and then it relies on a fight, on a bulldog.
Yeah.
So Ticia's my bulldog here, and I think she takes this by, decision.
I'm taking Tecia by decision as well. I think she'll do just enough to grind this one out. So it'll be interesting to come back and touch base on this one next week.
Right.
All right. So our next fight, we have Mr. Eddie Alvarez, former lightweight champion, versus Justin Gaethje. This is going to be an awesome fight. I know you're a huge Gaethje fight, so why don't you lead us off here?
Well, my problem with this fight is I love both of these guys. My roommate is Eddie's little brother. Not really, but they look just the same.
That's what we call him.
Yeah, I'll post a picture up on the YouTube comments so y'all can see how similar these two look. But yeah, no, I'm really having a hard time with this fight because I like both of these guys, and especially considering Justin's one fight into the UFC and it placed him at 5, whereas Eddie's been fighting guys, I don't know, let's just name the last 5 fights. Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, Rafael dos Anjos, which he beat in the first round, Anthony Pettis, which he beat by decision, Gilbert Melendez, which he beat by decision. And he's even beaten guys like Michael Chandler and Patricky Pitbull in Bellator, which those are their top guys right now. So this fool's coming out of Black Zillions. He's good at everything. He knows everything. And the biggest and best thing I like about Eddie is he makes it a fight. He's the type of guy where you'll hit him, he'll drop on his knees, and then get up and then knock you out, which is what he did to Dustin Poirier. And I can't believe that bullshit got called back. But moving on to Justin Gaethje, this is the problem I'm having is Gaethje's the same exact fighter. Like the same exact everything. They throw from out here. They leave their chins completely exposed to get knocked out. This is a rock'em sock'em robot fight waiting to happen.
We love that kind of a fight.
Yeah, this is my fight of the night by far. I think that these guys will take it just because Justin Gaethje's a human highlight reel. He will get dropped and then get up and finish you just like Eddie. And if you didn't see that fight against Michael Johnson, that could have been fight of the year for exactly what I'm just saying to you. Michael Johnson was the better fighter in the sense that he was fighting smarter, he was picking his shots, and that worked in round 1. When you start gassing and when you start thinking and double guessing yourself, Gaethje's going to put your lights out, and that's exactly what happened to Michael Johnson. But then again, Eddie's the same way, and Eddie being at Black Zillions and Jayco Hybrid, God, I don't know. Let me hear what you have to say. I mean, this is such a great fight.
Yeah, well, Justin Gaethje, everything you said, I totally agree with. Yeah, they both have that constant forward pressure, bulldog fighter, in-your-face style fighting. I love what Gaethje does. He throws everything into his strikes. I mean, just everything but the kitchen sink. So far, he shows he's got a really good gas tank. He's going to be slightly bigger, and of course, he's the younger fighter here. This fight's going to probably stay on the feet. They're probably going to bang it out, and someone's probably going to get knocked the fuck out. Man, it's really hard for me to say this, but I am leaning on Justin here. However, I'm not overly confident. For everything that you said. I mean, Eddie could pull this off, no problem. No problem. He's got a great chin, knockout power, but of course, Eddie brings the same thing, to the table as Gaethje, just like you said, and that was my biggest highlight here is these two are damn near spitting images of each other, except one being Alvarez. He has the ability to say, look, I've fought huge names. However, the last 2 fights, you and I tend to see fights, slightly different sometimes. That was one of them. I thought Dustin Poirier was getting the better of him. We were there for that fight. We were live. It was here in Dallas, and I walked away from that thinking, damn it, man. I mean, Dustin might have finished Eddie off in that fight had that not happened. It's hard to say, but before that, he had his big loss against Conor McGregor. And prior to that, it was just win, win, win of huge names. Anthony Pettis, Rafael dos Anjos, Gilbert Melendez. So I love Eddie. To your point, we call your roommate Little Eddie, and we love him. I mean, we really do. Not only do we love Little Eddie, but we like Big Eddie. And it's tough for me to go against him. So I'm just going to say this fight can go either way. I truly believe that. That you said it at the beginning. I think you said there's a lot of fights here that are just swing. It's a swing vote. This for me is one of them. This is going to be a banger. However, I am just one of those things where I'm leaning that way. I'm going Gaethje. I'm going to say round 1 TKO knockout.
That's what I said.
Wow.
Yeah, the only reason, seriously, the only reason why I'm going Justin Gaethje after studying film and really getting a good, fresh feel for these two guys is the mileage. I seriously think that Eddie has carried mileage, being 33, fighting the best and nothing but the best that damages you. And he had his belt. Now it's time for Gaethje to get his shot, and I think Gaethje feels that way, especially with Eddie being ranked one spot above him, I think at number 4. So, yeah, I don't know. If I'm going by mileage, that's how I feel. If I'm picking 2 cars and they're the exact same cars, they have the exact same engine, they produce similar output, which one has less mileage? And that's the car I want. So I'm going to go Gaethje just based off of that.
And you know what? Let's be straight here. Gaethje does not know what it is to lose.
No.
He has a flawless professional record. Granted, he only has 1 fight in the UFC, but he has been in the World Series of Fighting. That is no small feat whatsoever to compete in that and to stay undefeated. I'm going to have to look up a little bit more. But, he is with Grudge Training Center, and I don't know a lot about them. He was with them, and now he's with Genesis Training Center. I don't know a lot about Grudge, but I'm anxious to see because it seems like that's kind of who formed and rounded him into who he is. His trainer's Trevor Whitman. I don't know who that is either. But yeah, man, Justin, if he ever feels rocked whatsoever, he leans right back on that NCAA division All-American wrestling that he knows. And, he's not afraid to take it to the ground if he feels slightly rocked. And, we've seen it before. Those wrestlers have a way of taking one on the chin, going all the way to their knees sometimes, and manage to get a single leg takedown out of it.
Yeah, another thing that we didn't mention about that makes this fight so juicy is they neutralize each other with the wrestling game. They're both equally as good at wrestling. Is Justin a little more fresh of a wrestler and out of college? Yes. Right. But they both have the same accolades. They're all American wrestlers. They're amazing on the ground. So I don't expect to see almost any groundwork. I expect to see whoever, not the first one who gets wobbled, but the second one who gets wobbled, I think that's the one who loses the fight.
All right.
Just a projection.
Vegas has Justin Gaethje favored -185, Eddie Alvarez at +150. So, at least we've got Vegas on our side once again.
Sweet.
All right. Our next fight is Henry Cejudo versus Sergio Pettis in the flyweight division. This is going to be a good one, man. Cejudo, so good everywhere. Former Olympic wrestler. Only area I personally see a lack in is the ability, just in the overall power to just knock out opponents, Otherwise, you're going to get it doesn't matter if it goes 3 rounds, 5 rounds. Cejudo has got a tank, and he shows it every fight. Pettis, younger brother to Anthony Pettis. Sergio continues to show that he lacks a good takedown defense. Henry's probably going to use this to advantage. I mean, I would. Being as skilled as Henry is, in the wrestling department, he's got to see that weakness. Pettis is improving, but I don't believe he's on the same level as Henry. Henry is a world-class fighter. I mean, when you look at this dude, started, like I said, as in freestyle wrestling, but he's an Olympic gold medaler in wrestling, not just a wrestling, not just any wrestler is all I'm really saying. This guy has just such a good overall game now. His ability to just grind you is what is so impressive to me at the pace that he brings it. His last fight with Wilson Hayes was awesome.
Fucking supreme performance on Cejudo.
I mean, it really was. We were both, our mouths were just kind of left open as to how good he looked. He took performance of the night on that. That was just this past September. Before that, he had a loss to Joseph Benavidez. Before that, a loss to Demetrius Johnson. Two world-class fighters at their own right. And then before that, he was undefeated. Like, I mean, we're talking like 8 or 9 fights undefeated. And that's where I'm going with, man. Cejudo is the vet here. It's hard for me to go against Cejudo these days. That's who I'm picking. And like I said, I can see Cejudo grinding this out. Whether it was 3 rounds, 5 rounds, I'm taking him by decision.
I think good call on that. It's a really good fight. With Sergio being the bigger fighter, that's the only thing I don't like. Because Sergio, if you give him range, he's just like his brother. He's going to do something fucking amazing that's going to hurt you. And he manages to pull that off every fight, even against Brandon Moreno. But to your point, Sergio showed that he can be taken down, just not maintained on the ground very well. That was by Brandon Moreno, who isn't an NCAA Olympic wrestler like Cejudo.
Right, and I think Cejudo would eat Brandon Moreno up, personally.
Yeah, so let's, just grading this now that we're on the third fight from the last. Grading this from our perspective, and you interrupt me if I grade this wrong, but for Cejudo ground game, I'd say A+.
Absolutely.
Sergio, I'd say B-.
If that.
Maybe a soft B, C+. That's not his preference of fighting. So I think that's your key way of looking at this fight. But if something happens and they're not able to go to the ground, I also like Cejudo on the feet. I would say based on his last performance coming out in that weird karate southpaw stance, that was fucking amazing. And the way he operated out of that, you could tell Wilson Reyes had trained against something totally different, expecting something totally different. So based off that performance, I'd give Henry an A. Sergio, I'm giving an A and A+ too. So I can see Pettis being a little bit better on the feet, but he's not the well-rounded fighter, and he doesn't have double A. Where Cejudo thrives, Sergio is very suspect. So I think that's why I feel good with going Cejudo here, and I feel good about that.
Well, he is favored -260 Vegas odds. Have Sergio Pettis at +200. So,
did you say Cejudo by decision too?
I did.
I did too.
Just going to outpoint him.
The last 3 fights we've called the exact same round. Or no, the last 4 fights we've called the exact same round, exact same finish.
Well, that's good because the first 2/3 of this fight night are going to be crazy for us. All right, so our next fight, what do we got, man? Jeez,
moving up to the big boys.
Big boys, that's right. We got Alistair Overeem versus Francis Ngannou, heavyweight division. Go ahead, man. This is your boy.
No. You got to go ahead.
Oh, jeez, man. I'll just say this, man. Overeem surprises me time and time again. For a guy so big, he's so light on his feet. He's really mobile in early rounds for such a big guy. Walking around at the weight he does. He's proven to be able to be KO'd. That's the only thing that I see that is a weak spot for him. Other than that, he's just overly well-rounded, I think, in every department. Francis Ngannou, super strong fighter, continues to improve in his skills and abilities. Been training at the UFC Performance Institute and is making the most of that training. Every time he comes to play, man, he's bringing it. It's just he is. Let's see, what's my best way to put it? Because he has an awesome boxing, training in him. The striking that he proves to put on you with the weight behind his punches is just unbelievable. He really beats you up. He put a heavy TKO on Andrei Arlovsky, and that's hard to do. That was in January of this year. managed to pull a submission, a Kimura on Anthony Hamilton. That was an awesome fight. Go back and see that one because that'll shock you. Bojan, what is it? Bojan
Mahashlovich.
Yeah, Mahashlovich. Got a TKO over him. TKO over Curtis Blades. Francis is a phenom on his feet. Question is, how well rounded is he becoming on the ground? Because he's got 4 submissions to his winning career. 11 fights, 10 wins, 1 loss, 6 by knockout, 4 by submission. Again, he's proven he can do it every which way. I just haven't seen a lot of his wrestling game yet. Whereas Overeem, man, he gets to the ground these days. When he scrambles, he's right back up to his feet. He is definitely wanting to play a striking game first and foremost with you. And Overeem, Jesus, this dude, he's one of your favorite fighters, and for good reason. He used to be part of the Black Zillions. Now he's training on a Jackson Wink MMA with Greg Jackson, Mike Winklejohn. He's got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, green belt in Judo. Dude's been fighting forever and a day. Had like 14 fights in professional kickboxing, 10 wins there, 4 losses. In mixed martial arts, this guy's got 59 fights, 43 wins, 15 losses, 19 knockouts, 19 submissions, won 5 by decision. Dude, I mean, we could just go on and on about his record, but the guy's been a part of the UFC since 2011. So if you don't know about him, you need to go figure it out, man. This guy's fought the big names. Brock Lesnar, Antonio Silva, Frank Mir, Ben Rothwell, Stefan Struve, Roy Lee Nelson, Junior Dos Santos, Andrei Arlovsky, Stipe Miocic, Mark Hunt, Fabricio Werdum was his last fight. Dude,
Overeem's beat the best heavyweights in the world and then beat them again.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this fight so tough.
So this is just a really hard one for me. I mean, I can't say enough how some of these were just back and forth. I battled to come up with this. And again, I had finally just closed my eyes and tried to figure out how this would end. And I'm going with my revelation. This is my vision. And I couldn't tell if it was round 1 or round 2, but I see Ngannou getting in a knockout or a TKO. I've seen it happen to Overeem, and I think Francis is going to bring the power and the striking skill to get it done. So, and Overeem could absolutely prove me wrong. So, tell me how you're seeing this.
Well, I'm happy I asked you to go first, even though you asked me, because I feel like it's weird. We're really seeing this main card the same. But the thing that holds me back with this fight is Francis hasn't fought anybody. Like, okay, you got your knockout over Arlovsky and Anthony Hamilton, 2 guys that pretty much every other heavyweight can knock out as well. And we haven't seen Ngannou out of the second round. And the last time he was in the second round was an early doctor stoppage against Curtis Blades and Barbosa de Oliveira. So, oh man, I don't know. I just don't know what to expect from Francis against the best of the world. And let's be real, Alistair, until Stipe came along, Alistair was going to have that belt for a long time. Mm-hmm. Arguably, maybe should still have the belt if they could get a rematch going, because I'd love to see that too. But I don't know. I did the same thing as you. I kept going, Overeem with the experience, the vet. Nobody's taking him. Everybody's overlooking him. Shit. But when I close my eyes, I don't know. I do the same thing I do with Eddie Alvarez and Justin Gaethje. It's just a timing thing. Both of these guys have very similar engines as far as power goes. They're V12 super diesels that could knock you out with anything at any particular moment. So breaking it down in that aspect, I have to take the truck with the less mileage. I think that Francis probably has the ability to take a shot, a heavyweight shot, better than what Alistair would. And I know these two are going to exchange shots. That's not a question. Alistair has a strong Muay Thai background, and Francis has a strong boxing background. So these two are going to eat some damage. But who drops first? And I don't know. I'm going to go with the fresher engine to try and dominate the older one. But, man, I do not feel confident. I don't even think I'm going to bet on this fight because my heart, of course, is with Overeem, but my mind, from a timing and just a straight power advantage, I have to go Francis the Predator, round 1 knockout.
Well, that's how I felt about Chase Sherman last week.
Yeah.
So Ngannou is favored -240. Vegas odds have Overeem at +190.
I don't like those odds at all.
No, that seems a little bit far stretched, but anyways, that's good for us. We'll go for it. I'm glad to see we are on the same page for the main card, man. Maybe we'll make some more money.
Right.
All right, and that brings us to our main event of the night, which is Max Holloway, the current champion, versus Jose Aldo. This is a playback. We're taking it back and doing it again. Jose actually was not scheduled on this card. It was originally Frankie Edgar, and he ended up getting hurt. Something happened to his orbital bone. Can't remember why I can't get that damn word right. And Jose, of course, jumping right in gets to have an immediate turnaround rematch for the belt, in which he lost the first time to Max. Holloway, I'm pretty sure we can expect the same outcome here. I mean, it hasn't been that long. Aldo, dude's been knocked out 2 of his last 3 fights. Holloway did it in 3 rounds, and of course McGregor did it in, first 13 seconds of round 1. He did take a 5-round decision between those losses over Frankie Edgar. Like I said, it was supposed to be in this spot. But since he got hurt, we get to see this do-over. And I'm telling you right now, I just don't see it being much different. I think Holloway will probably end up doing the same. He'll wait for that opportunistic moment. He comes out so unorthodox that you're not quite sure what he's going to do, when he's going to do it. And, it's funny to me because he has, Holloway has youth on his side. He's got height on his side. He's 1 inch less in reach than Aldo, but already proved that he can close that gap like it's nothing. He's very fast strikes, fast hands, fast feet. I just see it going the same way, man. If he takes this down quick, I see it going the same way. How are you seeing it?
Yeah, you're not gonna like this. I was gonna go Max Holloway. Matter of fact, I have it right here, round 1 KO. But it's starting to hit me. I'm missing something in this fight, and I think a lot of people are missing something. Jose Aldo's never lost 2 fights in a row. Better yet, never lost to the same guy 2 times in a row. I think Max should be able to do it. However, if Max comes in confident and cocky, Jose's one of those vengeful type of fighters. Like, if he has something against you, he's going to try and knock you out, especially when you took his belt. But fuck, man, God, this is a crazy fight because I remember I talked to you last week about this, and I think it's a point people should really think about especially if you're going to bet on this, because Jose Aldo, from a point striking, not end of the fight, in their last match, Jose Aldo was outstriking Max, and that was because Max uses so much range that he's a lot like Nate Diaz and relies on that front leg a lot. And Jose is the best in the game at leg kicks. And it took Max 3 rounds to adjust to that. Did he adjust? Yes. Did he get the knockout? Yes. I think it was an amazing adaptation, and Jose had no idea it was coming. So I think that was awesome. But at the same time, I can't help but have this image in my head of, if that fight would have gone rounds and the KO didn't happen, who would have won that? And I don't know. I feel like Aldo might have etched that out. I'm going to go with the underdog. I got to grab at least at one underdog here on all these main cards, and I feel like this might be it. And it might give us the legacy fight where you need the 3 rounds to prove who's the best, or the 3 fights to prove who's the best fighter. I think that would be great for the UFC. I think it's also great for that division, considering it's a pretty empty division right now. And what could work better for those guys' wallets than to have a 3rd fight? So yeah, I'm gonna go Aldo, last minute switch by decision.
Okay.
Not confident at all.
Well, I say, who's Max Holloway have left? I mean, man, he's fought everybody of every. I was just looking over all the guys he's fought in this division. I mean, he might as well. He does this. He might as well. There's no one there left at the top there that give him that big of a run, and he might as well move up a weight class. Put a challenge on himself. But yeah, I see it going the same way that it went last time. So that'll be a fun one, because Vegas has Holloway at -300, Aldo at +230. So yeah, you take that dog. I think Holloway's a proven winner. I mean, he's just, when was the last time he lost? Lost
in August 2013.
Conor McGregor was the last guy to beat that dude. So yeah, man, that'll be a fun one. I'm anxious to see it. It's definitely going to be a good fight. So we'll come back next week and we'll touch base on all that.
Hey, you know what? Last minute switch. I'm going to go Holloway. I just looked at that record again, all the way down to his last loss, and there's no way that would be dumb of me. So yeah, I'm gonna go Max. Sorry, last minute switch up. I know.
And how are you calling that?
I'll go originally what I had. We'll go for the round 1 KO.
All right, I'm going round 3 submission.
Oh, okay, that's different.
Yeah, right. So let's see. We will now do some post-fight analysis on last Saturday, which was just a weird night for fights. Bisping Gastelum in Shanghai, China. It was live on Fight Pass, so anybody who's a hardcore fan, they were the only ones up with us. I think we got up at what time? Like 2:30?
2:30 a.m. Dedication, baby.
I'm telling you, 2:30 in the morning. Then we went back to bed at 8:30 in the morning. Yeah, dude, it was a solid like 5-6 hours of fights too, and it was a grind. But we had a good time, man. It was
a good card too.
It really did prove to be a good card. We had fun, and I tell you what, for it going through the middle of the night, man, we laughed our asses off. So yeah, we'll just go through real quick and just kind of briefly touch on these fights and tell you what I remember, because there were some highlights and then there was some real low spots. That first fight, Cyril Asker versus Hu Yaozong. Asker defeated Yaozong by submission in round 2, and I can't remember how you called that, but I think you had Asker, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and that fight went exactly like I saw. Yao Zong was beaten every area, and when he was taken to the ground, he had no answer, and Cyril just beat him up into the rear naked for like 7 minutes straight.
Right. And second fight was Luigi Buren versus Rolando Dai, and Dai defeated Buren by decision in round 3. Round 3 was just one of those ones where he put the cap on, did exactly what you need to do. But let me tell you, that fight, we were just clinched because it could have went either way. Did we both have Dai on that?
No, I had Dai originally, but I went with Buren because of the ground game, which he used very well,
right,
but he didn't do anything with it. So.
Right. Yeah, Dye, man, he was quick to get out of anything, man. He's an elusive fighter. But yeah, that was an interesting fight to watch. The first female fight, that Wu Yanan versus Gina Mazzani. Mazzani defeated Yanan by decision, and I had Yanan winning that one, but Mazzani pretty much controlled every aspect of that. How did you call that one?
I had Yanan by decision as well, but this is one of those fights that at the weigh-ins I could tell Gina had that glow around her.
Yeah.
So had we not done the podcast, I think the night before, 2-3 days before, I would have gone Gina after the post weigh-in.
Yeah, we didn't do a cast on this one. We skipped it.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We had so much going on, y'all, and one day we'll talk about. We got some exciting news, but for reasons I can't disclose right now, we can't talk about it. However, we had some exciting things happening to us last week, and we were busy as well. So the next fight, that was a good one, man, and it went exactly the way I thought it was going to go. Chase Sherman versus Shamil. How do you say that last name, dude? Abdurakhimov?
Yeah. Good attempt.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. I was blown away. I really was. The one thing that I said to you, and it was not like we did a cast about it, but the one thing I said to you was Sherman, he's got a weak chin, man. He's got a weak chin, and sure enough, boom. Now I called it. I called it by decision, but man, wow. So I was shocked to see the knockout. I guess maybe I went by decision because I didn't want to see the Vanilla Gorilla knocked out. Yep. But I told you it was probably going to go down that way, and man, it did. I didn't want to see it happen that way, but it went that way.
Yeah, I'll take my loss, and I'll take it proudly because I went Chase Sherman with the thought of somebody's dropping. I just don't know who it is. And I was on the wrong side of that loss, of course, of that KO. But, I mean, shit, had Chase laid that type of punch on Shamil would have dropped. So, yeah, but good call.
Thanks, man. Next fight, Song Yadong versus Bharat. Jesus.
We called this one to a T.
Kandar?
India's first fighter.
Yeah, man. Just like you said, dude, it was Yadong came out there and laid it on him. It was his UFC debut, and he put it on it, dude. Finished it down and finished it by submission in round 1. It was quick.
Yeah, Yadong might be Asian, but Yadong Schlong is strong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he took this man out, and I think I remember looking at you before the fight started, and I was like, well, why is Bharat even in the UFC? I mean, seriously. And then Yadong comes out and just thrashes him apart. It was ugly.
It was ugly. That's a good way of putting it. Next fight was Kaylin Karan versus Shannon Yan.
Good fight.
Yan's UFC debut, and yeah, man. She came out and did exactly what she was supposed to do. She just
dropped Karan like 4 times too.
It was crazy. I think I don't know how you picked it. I know you picked Yan. I had Yan by decision.
I had Yan by decision.
And she did it just like that. She just outgrinded Karan. A lot of people thought Karan. I think we saw a lot of people online that saw Karan pulling that off, but I did not see it that way.
How about this next fight?
Next fight, Kenan Song versus Bobby Nash, and
God damn it, Bobby!
Poor Bobby, man. Song just comes right out, knocks out Nash in 15 seconds into round 1.
15 fucking seconds, you idiot.
Yeah, but I mean, wow.
Bobby, dude, how are you gonna go to fucking Beijing for your first time? Get dropped in 15 seconds against a newcomer.
We did not see that coming. We both had Nash. I had Nash by decision. I think you had Nash by. I think you had him by knockout.
I think TKO or something like that.
Something like that. But yeah, man, we were both let down there.
Guys, Nash was dropped with the first punch. One punch. That was it. It was done. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
it was embarrassing. However, the next fight made up for it.
Yes,
because it was, man, dude. Zabit, God, Magomed Shirparov?
Magomed Sharapov.
Magomed Sharapov, thank you. Yeah, him against Shimon Reyes. Dude, he put on an absolute show right up to the submission in round 3. So impressed with this guy. I mean, he just does a little bit of everything, and everything that he does well. It's really hard to pick this guy apart, except the one thing that I still come back to, and that's probably head movement. I think he needs to improve there. However, he doesn't have to as long as he continues beating his opponent to the strike. Very impressive. If you didn't get to see that fight, that would be a good one to pull up and watch, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, and technical jiu-jitsu. The way he sunk in his anaconda choke lift. Most guys, when they go for an anaconda, they leave the fulcrum grip a little too loose, and all it takes is an easy roll / kind of kick out of that, and not Zabit. Man, when he trapped that neck, the fulcrum went all the way over the back, and that's it. And there was no getting out of it. So that was cool to see. Not only see the precision, accurate striking of Zabit, but the development into his jiu-jitsu game as well. To think he can do an anaconda choke with all that reach and sink it in against a tough guy like Moraes. Hats off to him. I'm really keeping an eye on him. He's probably my favorite Russian next to Khabib right now.
Dude, those Kazakhstan boys.
Yeah.
Man, there's something in the water there, dude. There really is. There's something in the water. There's something to be said about the training there and what those boys are doing and how they do it. That's all I'm gonna say. If you're not into the Russians MMA by now, man, you're missing out. The next fight, Muslim Salikov versus Alex Garcia. God, man, I really was surprised by this fight. Garcia defeated Salikov by submission in round 2, and yeah, I was surprised. I thought we were going to get more of a fight out of that.
I really wasn't surprised. I feel like I made a fuck up after I talked to you about it. Because Alex Garcia, I said it right before the fight started. I remember I looked at you and was like, do you remember this guy switched to TriStar?
We were talking about it at we were watching the weigh-ins.
The weigh-ins, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when it was another one of those fights, just like what I did with the Gina Manzani fight, or Mazzani. I felt it here too. I was like, everything inside me is telling or is wanting to switch to Alex Garcia, and then I found out he was from TriStar, and it was too late. Unfortunately, my parlays and bets were in, but yeah, I wasn't surprised here. TriStar is doing amazing things with guys that either A, were relying on too much of a knockout ability, or B, had all the wrestling potential in the world, just used it dumb. And Alex, fortunately and unfortunately, was all of those things, and TriStar's really, really shaped him into a great fighter to go in and beat a guy as dominant as he did versus Muslim. And this guy, that Russian, can throw anything from every single angle and knock you out with it. To think that Alex went out and neutralized him like that, yeah, I'll remember that for sure.
Yep. Well, the next fight was just as impressive. Wang Guan's UFC debut versus what we could, I guess, say Alex Caceres is pretty much a vet in the UFC now. And man, dude, it went exactly the way I thought it was going to go. That was one of the ones I called perfectly. Guan defeated Caceres by decision and just outclassed Caceres to me in every way.
I think you hit it right on the nail on the head. We said before this fight started that what do we know about the by the way, Guan Wang was like Jinglang Li was China's main guy. This was the next main guy, was Guan Wang. And all it took was a little bit of film study to understand that this dude's coming right at your face with an overhand right from hell.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, he's throwing it again. And if it doesn't work out, he's throwing it again. And so he probably should have knocked Alex out 3 or 4 times in the fight. Didn't, which I'm surprised Alex even took that and stayed up. So you got to take your hat off to that.
Yeah.
But Alex got his ass whooped for about 2.5 rounds straight. Had his little flashes in round 3 at the end, but
yeah, proved he can come back from a heavy flash too, didn't he?
Yeah, and this fight really proves how pressure can break movement.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how good you are at Kung Fu. It doesn't matter how good you are at Muay Thai. It doesn't matter how good you are at karate. If someone's pressuring you and you don't have the time to think of where you're going to place that strike, that's how you can beat those guys. And go watch this fight and you'll see how it works.
It's absolutely the way I see it. I mean, it's just and Alex, you know, we've discussed this many times before about Caceres. He's just he lacks something, man. There's just something, and he's just, I don't know, man. He's
like this.
Yeah, but you know, he's gonna stay right where he's at as long as he continues to fight like that. Gotta have something more impressive. The next fight was Li Jingliang versus Zach Otto.
My birthday boy, my birthday brother.
And man, Lee brought it, dude, just like we knew he would. He defeated Otto by knockout in about 3 minutes into round 1. And another one where it was just, he hunted, he stalked Otto, he waited, and he just kept throwing big bombs. And eventually it connected.
Something about us March 20th boys with that overhand right. It's just, it's unreal. It's so reliable because John Moraga, another guy who just fought like 3 or 4 weeks ago, shares the same birthday and got the knockout with the same punch, overhand right. So it's just becoming one of those things, and this is like the 5th, 6th fighter, top-ranked fighter that has my birthday, so it's really cool to be able to share those moments with those guys. And we saw this coming from the jump. We knew Zach Otto was technical. We knew Zach but really is pretty good in all areas, but he doesn't move his head, and when he meets equal pressure, it doesn't amount to the same type of fighter. And Jing Lang, all he brings is pressure. They call him the Leech for a reason. So, way to go, birthday boy.
Yeah, that was a great fight. Another one I recommend. Just go see it. It was worth it. Get to see a very technical striker there. High precision level too. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So yeah, and then we had our absolute upset of the night, the main event, Michael Bisping versus Kelvin Gastelum. Oh, it was just horrible. Kelvin came out and knocked out Bisping 2 minutes and 30 seconds into round 1. It was devastating. It hurt my heart. After seeing it twice now in a matter of a month, and now I heard in the grapevine Bisping's already talking about fighting again in March. Look, man, I just think, first of all, he's talking about that's going to be his retirement fight.
We'll see.
I think it's ridiculous to fight that soon.
That's what he's all about.
I know it is, man, but dude,
it's hurting him.
It's hurting him. To me, the one thing that I said about this is, it's just so close to that last knockout that you have to take some time to let everything heal and get back to where you're supposed to be. I don't think he took enough time, man. And I mean, I know he's a warrior. I know he's a gladiator, and he wanted to just jump right back on the saddle. I get it, but yeah, man, really, really difficult to see. Good on Kelvin, man. I mean, he got that shot in and really, really just put a hurting on Bisping, man. He was lights out.
Oh, completely out. My poor guy. Poor fucking Count, man. As we're aging, so are these guys, and it just sucks to see your boy get dropped like that in round 1, especially because what we know about these two fighters is Mike is better in every aspect of fighting than Kelvin. Every single aspect, other than maybe a power difference. But Kelvin, I mean, had that fight gone to 3 rounds, Kelvin wouldn't have even been able to catch a breath. So I just feel a little bit robbed here. I feel like Mike Ever since his ACL tear, he has not been the same fighter. He's whiffing on his punches. That's why he got knocked out. He was overextended on a right hand, or maybe it was the left. It was one of the two. And he got overextended and took Kelvin's fucking left hand right over the top to the chin, and that's how you go to sleep. But the old Mike would have never been overextended. The old Mike would have never fucking took a flush shot and not been able to get back up from it. It's just weird what an injury to a champion does in the long term of events. And we're really seeing that all play out. Mike doesn't look the same. He doesn't react the same. His reflexes aren't the same. And I'm worried that the months it takes to heal an ACL, I'm wondering if he rushed through that process, and naturally he doesn't feel very good about it at all. But Mike, being the guy that he is, who I fucking honor and love to a degree that no one I think will ever really understand, is he is Dana's guy. If Dana needs a fight in that division, Mike's going to take it, regardless if he got knocked out and broke his nose or whatever. He'll stand up and fight again. So I do love that about Mike, but man, it's tough to watch that all go down.
Yep, it's been difficult. All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap this up here. We did pretty good on time. We will be back next week, of course, doing our post-fight analysis on this card, 218, Holloway versus Aldo 2. And then we will touch base and give you our pre-fight analysis and predictions on UFC Fight Night Swanson versus Ortega, which will be the following Saturday, December 9th, going down in Fresno, California. That'll be live on FS1. That should be a damn good main event. I haven't really had a chance. We've been so busy to jump into that card yet, but I'm sure it'll be a good one. This one is going to be a really good card. I'm looking forward to coming back and talking about it as well. So, yeah, you got anything else to add?
Nope. Only thing I want to add is please, y'all, leave a comment. We've been doing so well for these past couple weeks with everybody getting in the conversation and talking shit here and there, and then talking each other up here and there. It's just good to spread the love and the hate at the same time. So please hit that comment section below and tell us what you think, because that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, and I want to give a real quick shout out to Will Martin. I was so happy to hear that he worked something out with Yahoo. They are not going to shut his channel down, and we love Will. And we're glad that you're going to still be around, dude, because it would be lonely without you, brother. Yep. Also, we just started a fantasy pick'em league on UFC.com. Feel free to join us. Show us what you got. Sign up. Join our league. You'll find us listed under SDP_MMA. So to close, we want to thank you for joining us. You can follow us on Twitter at SDP_MMA. Also on Facebook and Instagram as well. Tune in before every UFC fight for our predictions and analysis. Subscribe down below there, please, if you haven't already done so, or if it's your first time here. Become a part of our MMA family. Until next time, be healthy, live to fight another day. Y'all be safe. We'll see you next week.